Hey, good morning and welcome to another episode of In the Driver's Seat with the Boomhauer Bandit, the number 43 car, Mr. Corey Renford, DJ Oakley here, and we have a special guest we'll get to in just a moment. But first, we have to do some catching up and some explaining to Dolosi because we have racing last night for some, but for others, we have no racing. Corey, take it away.
We had racing for about 45 seconds. Like, trying to think. Yeah, it was like that's probably close to a minute. Yeah, it was like a 17-second lap, and then another 17 and 18, which was when it was starting to die. So the old motor went kablooey. So we got our first week of racing in, and our last for probably a month or so. Probably a good month. Well, it depends. We've got plans to maybe Frankenstein an engine together because I own another engine that's at Nick Grove's house. So we're hoping the cheapest route is to take the good parts that are on a current engine, if whatever is good, when we try to diagnose it, what happened, and maybe combine the two and make one good motor here, and hopefully that works out because, like I said, we talked about racing budgets, and new engines were not in the racing.
Well, and that's the thing is when you sit there and you wonder about, the last 4 weeks we haven't raced because of the weather, and then all of a sudden you gotta get a new engine, a new motor. It's a little bit of a challenge because what does one of those cost, just off the top of your head, just random lowball?
We found it for $2,000, $1,700 plus $300 shipping. That was like the low. I talked to a guy in West Virginia that pretty much deals with these at 4:45 in the morning. I was texting him because I was still awake and searching. So he was probably like real happy. But he kind of deals with motorcycle engines, Ford cars. Like he takes them out. Like I used to deliver to a guy that did that in Katanning. He'd get like motorcycles that were wrecked from all over the country, and he just part them out and he sold them online. Like everything. I mean, so I think this guy kind of did that too. And he was like, I think he said it shipped. It was like $2,700. So he got anywhere from $3,000 to $2,000. This is like the one thing I didn't want to happen. Like anything but the engine, I was like, it's good.
So what was the budget? Like for the year, what did you set aside?
I was hoping it'd be like $1,000.
Okay. $1,500.
So
you're tripling your budget basically right now.
Because like I said, my daughter had issues, and that kind of that took it away. It was funny because, of course, with all things, I like just paid off like the credit, the PayPal credit that I used to buy the other engine Thursday. And as with anything,
that's how it goes.
When you pay off a car, it's like, hey, I'm done. Peace out.
Maybe one of those dudes. maybe one of those dudes that called about the warranty. You should have picked up the phone.
Yeah. Me and Steve. It's like, hello, sir. Thank you. That guy sounded real Steve, but So like, I'm like, isn't that funny how that works out? You pay it off, and 2 days later, it's like sign or but. So
what's the plan? Other than trying to jerry rig something together out of two engines, do you got to buy one?
That's a likely option.
That's plan one.
Okay.
Plan two is to buy something. Yeah.
Well, his is locked up, the bottom end locked up, but the other end is not. So
that motor is
toast.
Yeah, she gonna.
Did you catch any heat? Nope, no pun intended.
From like everybody else.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, everybody else is like, "What were you doing?"
You sit in your on your talk show for 4 weeks about getting this race going, and all of a sudden you get going and you can't go.
Yeah, that's probably the bad part about like being out there so much. Like, you're gonna catch body shots. See something bad happens to you. Everybody's just delivering uppercuts. I wasn't the only guy that had a bad night. Doug, he had motor problem. They said like a coolant line come unhooked or something, or blew up. Or
it didn't
said it was water on the track or coolant. So that's not good. Both Meadows on the same lap. They were running third and fourth, and one had a fuel pump go bad. So I'm not the only guy.
It's some bad luck
out here with a bad night, but to me, I got it's the worst for me because it's me personally. But like I know they got their own problems too. And I feel bad for those guys because I know we're like all in the same boat here. Like,
So you had a bad night. There was a couple bad nights out there. Who had a good night?
Teddy had a good night.
Yeah, Teddy was good.
I mean, Teddy Williams dropped a 16.7 as a lap time
In the dwarf.
in a dwarf car. Yeah, that was about what they were running in their mod lights too for a little while there. It was pretty. I think they might have hit like 16.1 or something like that, or 16.2. So I mean, the dwarf cars weren't running that. They're not running too far off the pace of the mod lights last night. Mod lights were running pretty fast. They had a few cautions, but Teddy did what he did dwarf car mod light, and he got third in the mod light.
Yeah.
Did he end up third? It was Dave,
And then
Cody, and then Teddy.
Yep. And Logan.
And Cody Stillion, that's who we got my car off of, and Jared Thompson's car. Him and his dad. He's a 16-year-old kid. That kid, he's good. He's fearless as all heck. Like, I mean, that kid, he'll throw it in there. He's a good driver. And so I think, and Teddy had to start because he drew a 90 on the pill draw, but I don't know if he started back because he probably won his heat race or
I don't know where he was at. I don't think he won.
finished up probably 1 or 2, I assume, just because he's a good driver. Yeah. So, but I mean, he had to come up. He had to come through the field there. But, I mean, it was just bad.
A couple of them fell off that were in front of him.
Yeah, I think probably
Both Meadows
were in front of them when they had their problems. So their problems were good for Teddy.
Doug, he was right on Doug when that happened. Okay. I think.
So he probably got a shower then.
He might have been beside him.
Yeah.
Let's introduce our guest here. I'll roll out the red carpet here at YSN, and as you do, as no one else can, my friend, the Bandit is going to give the Boomhauer intro.
I don't know about that. Okay, this is Drew.
What's his last name?
Haney.
Okay.
I think. I don't. Do I butcher it?
No.
Okay, Sucon's had to send me a text message. It was like Sucon, like Yukon, like it sounds like okay, because I pronounced it 40 different ways.
Yeah.
I was like, but Drew's a mechanic extraordinaire here. He's like an evil genius with a set of tools, and he's pretty much a damn inspiration to me from last year. Just as much as he works on his car, like I don't think there's two people out there that work harder than him combined. Like he puts a lot of effort into that thing and dialing it in, and just the cojones to make wild changes and just see if it works. Like that's what put me in awe of Drew last year. Like I even wrote a thing on Facebook how I was like, man, if I'm gonna do anything, I gotta be like Drew. like just the willingness to be like, all right, I might have to take an L this week, but it's gonna pay off the next week. Or
I just like to to learn. There's so much. Yeah. I moved the bar last night 1/2 inch, and it screwed me up. I mean, just that little bit, but it's just but now I know for next time. And I didn't like that. Don't do that. But without trying it, you don't know. Yeah, so I like to try and understand what does what on the car.
Because I left everything for 2 years how it was when I bought it, and he's like, no, that's not happening. We're changing it. Even on my car, he's like, I made a lot of changes here. That's like I said. He's like, it's going to be either close to the same as it was.
He kind of had different. 2 extremes on his car. He had one thing that should have been saying the car was really loose. He had another thing kind of making up for it, making it really tight. So it was ending up in the middle, but it was because of 2 extremes.
Okay.
So we just kind of brought it all back to kind of like a base.
So you're like the Zen master of the dirt track world.
Yeah, just kind of more of a basic setup till he can give me a little more feedback of what he thinks.
It
seemed good.
How did you get into this?
Watching mixes, probably Steve Mix and Junior. A couple of years ago, I went and watched him at Sharon with another friend that used to race with them, Matt Berger. And I just saw one for sale when I saw goods was opening back up and went and got it.
Yeah.
And I didn't know whether I got a good car or not. I don't know that no one went and looked at it with me that knew what we were looking at. I just went and got it. And the guy told me that it used to be a good car and they used to win up there. And I said, okay, it's a good start for me. It was in my budget at the time. So I got it, and then I slowly I put shocks on it and then just started playing around, moving stuff. And I'd watch the guys that were fast, watch Shane and watch Jake, some of these guys that really are a lot faster than us. And I'm like, man, my car won't do that. I said, I don't think it's me, but I can't get on the throttle when they're getting on the throttle. I'm like, so I just started moving stuff until I thought I could get the car to be closer to what they were doing.
So you're not a mechanic by trade?
No, I build fence for a job, a career. But I actually went to school to TIG weld. I went to trade school, and I went to a year. I didn't finish my college, but I started engineering school at YSU.
Okay.
And then went to trade school. It's actually weld and fab. I worked doing that for quite a while. I worked in a fab shop and machine shop a little bit. So I took over business from my grandfather and ended up doing that for a career. But I like playing in the garage. I still TIG weld a good bit.
Yeah. Do you? When did you get into racing? When did you really did it get into you? I guess
3 years now. Because
like when you were a kid.
I worked at Quick Shake Drag Strip.
Oh, okay.
When I was 16, 15, I couldn't even drive yet. My brother worked there, and I would ride with him.
Yeah.
To the track, and I worked mowing grass and worked there on the weekends, and I was at the racetrack at Quaker all the time growing up. But then I don't know when I really got. I mean, I guess I saw those guys running dirt track. I'm like, now that looks like fun.
Yeah.
I'd say my thing with drag racing is like
I did it for a while. I had street cars. I've had a bunch of cars. I had a lot of street cars, and you do a lot of sitting in the staging lanes, and then you make a 10-second pass or 11-second pass, and then you sit in the staging lanes. When we get seat time, we get a lot of seat. You get out of the car, you're wore out.
Yeah.
Sometimes from you're sweating, you're driving.
Yeah, I always figured I like drag racing, but it was like, man, I need more than 10 seconds.
A reaction time, and the car be consistent. So.
Yeah. Like with a feature race, that's 6-7 minutes.
Yeah.
If it goes
it's more on you.
Yeah.
Not something you can try and blame the car, but it's mostly more on you, especially if you're the one that turned the wrench on it. So
you don't have that problem.
Yeah.
I didn't turn any wrenches on.
Yeah. But I guess that's why I like it. It's fun I like trying to make the car better. And then at some point you got to be better too. That's
what we're trying to get.
Yeah. Well, the car's never going to be perfect.
Right.
So you got to be able to just adjust and drive it what the car's going to allow you to
You have to be the wrench, Corey. You're the wrench.
I'm a wrench. I threw a wrench in the thing.
Drew, where are you from?
I'm from Salem. I went to United Local
High
school.
So you're an Eagle?
Yep.
Respect. What year?
03.
Hey, we're same age.
Okay.
Very good. Very good. What did you want to do whenever you were a kid?
I don't know that I had that figured out. I don't know. I like to build stuff. I don't know when I really figured that out. I built a car while I worked at the machine shop in my night hours. I built a street legal race car. Basically.
Red Dragon. I'm not exactly sure it's street legal.
It's a 2-seater roadster. It's all inch and 5/8 chromoly, like what a
jeez, oh man,
cage.
That's a lot of words. I don't know what any of that means.
It weighs 2,000 pounds. It's a little roadster, 400 some horsepower, and it's street legal.
Wow,
it's pretty fun. But I like to build stuff.
Yeah, like I said, he showed me there's 2 different types of mechanics. There's take stuff off and put stuff back on, and then there's guys that get a little creative. Like, I can remake this part.
And I used to help. I would still if I had time, but a friend of ours that pulls tractors, I kind of used to hang out at his shop a lot, and they were building chassis, and I used to help them welding on headers and chassis and stuff over there. So I kind of got into building stuff, just helping them. So you the guy that everybody looks to now to help tinker with their vehicles? No, not too much. I just don't have a lot of time with the business. I try. If I had more time, I would.
They probably did pick up a little for you.
I helped Steve last winter. I made Steve bring his car over to me, Steve Sr., because he's got one arm and it's not real tough, and he was saying the car was hard to drive. So we put power steering on his car last winter. I think that's been helpful. Mm-hmm. And you said he helps you immensely. Like, looked at your car like he was Dr. Strange and figured it out pretty quickly.
Yeah, like again, like when I goes to like making all those adjustments, I'm in left field somewhere, like playing with daisies. Almost like,
well, and I'm still learning too. There's just so much. There's so many things you can change.
How did you get hooked up with the Bandit here? Just his
hanging
natural
out
good
after
looks,
the
or
track,
what?
hanging out behind the trailers after the track. He used to park way in the back, and at the banquet, I think I'd had a couple of drinks. I'm like, he needs to be parking by us. So Jim was like, well, you got to pay for a spot right now. So I just paid for a spot to park up by us. I'm like, well, that'll fix that problem.
Yeah, then he went on the
because we never know. He don't mostly ever touch his car. He just runs it the way it is. I said, at least if you need something changed, it'll be sitting right here next to us between the heat race and the feature. So if I want to look at it.
So Steve Mix says Corey has the Swift maintenance program.
All right, so you're not a truck driver.
No, I'm not a truck driver.
So there's a running joke amongst the trucking communities, Swift transportation.
Okay.
They're like, anybody that wants to drive a truck, no matter how bad you are. So like, you just say somebody's a real Swift driver. And usually like, so they're trailers, so everybody takes Swift and it's like, see what I effed up today. Like,
so what you're saying is we're not getting any Swift sponsorships anytime soon, thanks to my buddy Steve.
No, but I wouldn't want it anyway because it's a joke company. My dad would disown me if I ever worked for them. It's just a.
So maybe I should call them and see if they'll sponsor this show.
They might be like the largest trucking company in the world. I don't know, but who cares? Like, I got hit by one of them fellas at a truck stop. Like, he backed into me. I was like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "What do I need to do? You need to go in your truck and lock your door where you're safe before I get out of this truck and beat you to death." I don't.
My goodness.
Because when I see the damage that you did in my truck, I'm going to want to kill you. I go, so lock your door. Don't open it if I come to it. And just stay there. And it's just like they're just a running joke. Like, they're like, where's that Swift driver? I'm like, yeah. They like get under my skin with that.
So we know the plan. You're out for, we think, about a month, roughly.
Hopefully I can come back in July.
I mean, if you were lucky, the valves could be adjusted on your other engine and just get it put back in. That would be like the best case.
So what are you going to do? You just going to hang out?
Yeah, I'll go. I'm supporting these fellas. Everybody's supported me, and still want to have people in here to do this. Just because I'm out doesn't mean other people shouldn't be spotlighted,
I like that.
So I'm probably going to ask Meadows to show up here. They said the amount of racing that family has done.
Yeah, that's just if you want to try and learn something, watch the guys that are good, and they're one of them. Try to see, they're always messing with their car between the heat and the feature. They're doing something to it, and don't know what, but they're always making changes for the track, and they know what to do. And those are the guys to watch.
When you saw Corey pull into the infield last night, what was your first thought?
I was a little bit bummed because like the lap before that was probably the best lap he'd made in a long time.
She went out on top, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, it just looked like the car was maybe on the right track, and he was still getting even used to it being different. He needed a few more laps just to feel it out.
Sure.
Like Jerry Langley was in first,
mm-hmm.
and like me and Jerry, we were gonna have a.
You were gaining on him.
We were going to have a battle for first.
You were catching him.
And then it was like, so I was kind of losing him towards the end. Like it kind of started to die out.
At the top end.
Like Drew's like that. It might have been going then. Because I got catch him coming off.
He was losing power on the top end.
Towards the end, it was dying. I could catch him going in and coming off. But like towards the end of that run on the straight stretch, it was just coming down. And I'd get through the turn good because it felt good.
And it was low on power.
Yeah, and then it just come out. It'd come out good. Like in the lower RPM range, it was fine. It was strong. Then when it got up top, it was like, like the top end power was going.
And then coming out of 4, he just really slowed up hard, and we're like, uh-oh. And he just kind of pulled off.
Like I was hitting the throttle and it wasn't going anywhere.
Well, I thought I thought maybe fuel pump or electric, or we thought maybe it died because it kind of looked like it just died, but it didn't. We didn't realize at the time it was like a slow lock up.
Yeah, some of these guys get lucky and it's just like a stator wire comes unhooked or something, and you might have to just. Did
you know that it wasn't like that? Did you just have a feeling?
I did kind of because when I was pulling off, I tried to put it in second gear and pop the clutch out. It didn't do anything. So I grabbed it, put it back in neutral, and then I was like, that's not good.
Yeah.
But also
when they were pushing you?
No, it was just when I was coasting it.
Did you feel bad when they were pushing you? Did you know something was wrong?
Yeah, Jim came over, and he's like, I guess they told Jim I was like taking my equipment off. I wasn't. Jim's like, stay in the car. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going anywhere, Jim. I kind of know the protocol. They told him on the radio. I think.
You must have seen your hand.
Yeah, because I was just trying to loosen the straps up. I was like, well, I'm just gonna try to relax in here.
Yeah.
I was, maybe you shouldn't do that just in case somebody hits you.
Yeah.
But I told Jim's like, yeah, they just told me you. I was like, well, I wanted to take my helmet off and bash it off the steering wheel, like that's what I wanted to do, but I didn't. And he pushed me off, and I didn't. By that time, I had already known. I was like, because last time my motor blew, I did that when he was pushing me off. I tried it, and it just. I was like, but this one was different. The last time, like I said, it went from sounding like a crotch rocket to a lawnmower. Like there's two distinct noises.
Okay.
You've heard a crotch rocket.
Yeah, I got that.
You've heard a lawnmower.
Yep.
Those are two wildly different. So in the car, it went from like to I was like, that's not good. That's not good.
The noise is brought to you by the Boomhauer Bandit.
So I was like, but this time it didn't do that. It just kind of like it went softly into that dark night. How's that go? It just kind of like I went to get on it coming out of 4, and there's like no power there. So then I just made the left, and then I put it in neutral, and I tried to put it back in gear and pop it, and nothing.
You seem in good spirits, though.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? I mean, it's I don't have a time machine. Can't fly backwards.
Yeah, and there's nothing that you can go back and go back and do that's going to change that.
No, just the amount of people that were like Drew and everybody else that was there is like they're like, man, we're bummed for you. I'm like, well, that kind of helps lift you up too. It's like everybody's not like good for that guy. Good surgery, right? Yeah, so it's like just to have this family atmosphere we've talked about.
Yeah,
to help pick you up, to help keep you up.
And you got your favor done for you later.
Yeah. So it's like I almost run with the mod lights last night so they can get their car count.
Yeah, they only had 14.
I don't know if that would have helped if I blew up in the heat rate. I guess
you would have got lapped.
Registered. So
I don't know how that would have.
But they needed 15 cars.
I think they just
at one point, but Jim ended up doing it anyway.
Yeah. So they needed 15 cars for their payout.
Yeah.
So they just
But Jim ended up just being like,
I think Daryl paid for the extra car.
Yeah.
And then they just pretended there was 15 and made the payout. So that was good.
We
that was nice of Jim. Yeah.
We were almost going to transfer me over into that group.
Just to make the 15.
Nick, pardon me, Nick Groves saying we will get you back out there, buddy.
He is a integral part of this whole, the whole where we talk about Frankenstein and two motor. He's Dr. Frankenstein. So it's like, he's our guy. He was the guy last time I went to when Motor Blue. So he's the man. Like, I was like, did anybody tell Nick yet? I was like, he's probably bummed. He's probably like, somebody put an invisibility cloak over my trailer so Corey can't see. Because he probably knew. As soon as somebody was like, hey, Corey pulled in the infield, he's like, damn it, here he comes. He's looking for me already. I know it. But I don't know. It was just, I felt bad because I know Drew made it. That was the first time it was drivable and the track was wet. And I was like, man, Drew did. He put some work into it. He put some time into it. And I feel bad because I didn't get to fully test it out like he wanted me to be able to tell him. Then he felt bad because the motor blew. I didn't get to get a full run in it. And he's like, so we were both feeling bad about it. And it's like, well, damn.
That's racing, man.
Yeah. And these things are going to happen at some point. Like Rhodes was saying, he blew up 2 engines in one night. Like his motor blew in his car, so he
drove the other one,
pulled his dad's out, and then
blew it up.
Yeah.
What about your ride home, Corey?
That's when I got pulled over.
It wasn't any better than the ride at the track. Let's hear that story.
Taillights.
That was actually better than the track, actually, because, like I said, Officer Huntsinger there, he turned out to be a pretty nice guy, and he was like,
wait, stop. You need to tell the story in its entirety. So you're driving home.
Well, we debated first, should I follow him because his taillights weren't working.
It turned out everything we chose to do was wrong, really wrong. But like I said, so I got this new truck. And apparently, so I'm going by the cop. I see him sitting there in a circle because I'm going to Drew's house. So I'm like trying to ride my brake and my gas at the same time, so it'll look like I have lights, because I have brake lights and turn signals, just don't have running lights. But there's this weird thing.
Like an electric truck, it don't like you to ride the brake.
Yeah, if you do that, it's then like reducing power. I'm like, no, I'm trying to get away from the police. We do not need to reduce power. We need to increase power. So this, and then like we get like a quarter mile down the road, maybe.
And I can't see you at that point. I didn't see you. I never saw lights.
I see these lights just a humming. I'm like, cop, there's that cop. There he is. And then so lights come on. I pull over immediately. He's standing there. I look in the mirror. He's like looking at my license plate. I'm like, yep, that has an invalid sticker on it. So he pulls it. He gets up to the window. I go, I seen you look at the license plate back there. I'm like, I'm going to open that glove box. So I open the glove box. I'm like, there's the new sticker. It's sitting in there. I'm like, I do have it. It was just raining when I got the sticker, and it's been raining ever since February in Ohio. It's never stopped until this past weekend. He's like, all right. So then I was like, hey, what could we have done? He's like, well, he went through the Ohio revised code. He's like, the caboose just to have working lights. He's like, we would consider your buddy a caboose. I was like, you mind if I call him? He's like, sure, go ahead. So then he was actually going to be willing to let me just go get ahead
catch
of Drew.
Up to me.
He's
but
like,
I had already turned. He called me on speaker. I turned around and went back.
I was so excited about the first information that I didn't wait until he gave me that second bit. I could have just had. He's like, he can't be that far ahead. He can just pull over and you go get ahead of him. I'm like, I wish I would have waited 5 seconds to hear that. But that officer was pretty awesome.
Yeah,
that was actually the highlight of the day. I mean, that's pretty.
What was his name?
Dude, I probably butchered it. Trooper Huntsinger, I think. If anybody knows that guy, give him a hug because he rules, dude. He was on the phone talking. He was like debating on buying a new truck. I'm like, they will hold off till this supply chain thing goes. I've been going to a Ford dealer. I don't want to throw them under the bus. It's not their fault. I said for like 4 weeks now.
Yeah.
Calling them like, hey, you get that part yet? They're like, nope, it's a global backup. I'm like, well, damn. I kind of. So I was like, what could we have done? He's like, well, you could just rode in front of your buddy, or if you had your four ways on, I still would have pulled you over. He's like, but I'd just been like, all right, just keep four ways on and go. I was like, okay. So everything we chose to not do was what the right.
Just one of those days.
Yeah. I was like, I told him, I was like, hey, here's a good thing, officer. I ain't gonna be pulling this trailer for about another month and a half. Because that race car that's in there, she blowed up, son. I go, like, she ain't going nowhere. I go, so you won't be seeing me pulling this thing at night for a good while. I go, it'll be all daytime.
So even though the car, the engine is shot, with the road here continues here on YSN.
Yeah.
So we'll stay here every Sunday, 10:30. Well, close to every Sunday at 10:30. Obviously, you're going on vacation, going to Wisconsin.
June, so 19th through 26th.
So there's a couple weeks there. But we will keep it up, and hopefully you continue to check in with us each and every Sunday morning, 10:30, right here in the driver's seat. Want to thank Drew Haney, of course, the mumbling maniac over there. The bandit himself, the number 43 car, Mr. Corey Renforth. We thank you for checking in with us today. Hopefully next weekend we'll see you right here on YSN. Good day, everybody, and happy Memorial Day.